Hello, I'm David Meaker. Welcome to the first in a series of short talks on school leadership. I'd like to begin by saying two things. The first is that I've been in leadership in some form or another for most of my life, a long time. And the second, I don't think of myself as an expert, and I'm still learning. But hopefully the experiences I've had along the way will help me to help you in your leadership journey. As I share my thoughts and experiences, I'm conscious of the fact that I might not be right in everything I say. And you might not all agree with me on some of my points of view. But that doesn't matter. The important thing is that there's a conversation about leadership in schools. Because conversation leads to thinking and an appraisal of what we're doing and why. And then hopefully to making adjustments so that we do what we're doing better than we did it before. And concerning that, please do comment and share your thoughts. Also, if there are any topics you'd like me to cover, do let me know. One more thing, this series is not intended to be highly academic. It's not rocket science, just down-to-earth, useful stuff, I hope. I've entitled this first talk, In at the Deep End. It's an introduction to my own leadership journey to give some background of where I'm coming from and how being thrown in at the deep end might be frightening at the time, but that it can often be the best way to learn. It was just before my 25th birthday, and I was in my fourth year of teaching in a small primary school of about 200 pupils during a time of war. The headmaster, we called them headmasters in those days, also held the rank of colonel in the country's territorial forces and was called up for 3 months. Actually, he deliberately arranged to have himself called up because he was allowed to draw his officer's pay as well as his headmaster's salary. Anyway, that's how I got thrown in at the deep end as acting headmaster, the youngest in the country, I think. I still had to teach a year 6 class, and the only support I had was one secretary and a cleaner. I was responsible for doing all the school admin, including keeping the financial ledger, and that was something I'd had no previous experience of. Also, the school's vehicle insurance would not allow me to drive the minibus until I turned 25, a few weeks into my acting role. And to top it all, the year 7 teacher, Mrs. White, was the same age as my mother, and I had been a pupil in her year 7 class 12 years previously. I lost track of Mrs. White in later years, but I'm still grateful to her for supporting me as I stumbled along for those first 3 months. I'd arrive at school at 7:15 in the mornings and only leave at about 7 each evening after trying to get the books to balance. Those 3 months were an excellent experience, during which I learned quite a bit about leadership. And the first thing was, act confident even if you don't feel confident. I don't mean that in an arrogant way. I mean that if you look like you know what you're doing, people will think you know what you're doing, and they'll follow you, hopefully. In that regard, I remembered what a sports coach had told me a couple of years previously when I was very nervous about refereeing my first school football match with parents watching from the sidelines. He said, just blow your whistle loudly and pretend that you know what you're doing, even if you don't. Most people won't question your decisions. So, as I took over the leadership of Avonlea School for that short time, I just made sure that I dressed like a headmaster and acted like one. And it worked. Thinking of acting, a lot of people, when asked to fulfill a role that they've never done before, will say, I can't because I don't know how. That is not how you're going to get ahead. When asked, can you do this job? You say yes, and then you go and find out how. You act like you can do it, and pretty soon you will be able to. I said that these are going to be short talks, so I'm going to finish off here because when I do my next video, I don't want you to think, oh my goodness, he talks too much. I don't have the time for this. So thank you for watching my introduction. In the next video, I plan to talk about making the little things count. Bye for now.